everybody, and welcome back to our community. If you're new, I'm Jen. I focus on all things health, wellness, self-care, productivity while living in New York City, and I tried running 1 mile a day all week. So I was in Florida for a week with my boyfriend who is training for a marathon. So it seemed like the perfect attempt to finally try running after he was trying to convince me for a long time. Beautiful weather, beautiful view. If I'm ever gonna enjoy running, it's gonna be there, so let's try it out. If you're anything like me, even just 1 mile sounds brutal. I don't think I have ever in my life ran 1 mile without stopping to walk, stopping to take a breath, stopping altogether. So some of you might think it's not a big deal at all, and some of you might think it's brutal. You know what? When you hate running, it is brutal, okay? I hate it, but we're gonna try it this week. And I actually learned a lot from this challenge, so let's get right into it. So on day one, I actually felt really nervous, honestly. Call me crazy, but I was just feeling intimidated. I had never done it without stopping before. My boyfriend Ethan is always telling me that running is just like a meditation, so I sought out his advice on how exactly I could treat this activity that I hate as a meditation. Okay, so how do I, because I'm obviously into meditation and everything, and you always say running's more like a meditation. If you can meditate, you can run. So how can I utilize that mindset to keep me going when I'm running?
I think you got to find a couple things to focus on, almost like a mantra. I would focus on your breathing. Try to come up with a kind of a consistent breathing method, right? Count how many seconds you're breathing in for. Try to hold it maybe not holding it while you run, but then breathe out for a certain number of seconds.
So focusing on your breath just like you would in a meditation.
Focusing on your breath.
Even if I'm listening to a podcast or something?
Yeah, I think if you're first getting into running, it might be good in the beginning to like not even play anything at all. And just even for 15, 20 minutes, just like, get a sense of your breathing. Like, how do I feel? How are my hips? What's tight? What hurts? What feels good? What doesn't feel good? Does the working out that I normally do translate into running or not at all? What could I maybe work on that would help my running? Because let's say my shins are really hurting and I'm getting shin splints. Is that because of this reason or that reason? Figuring out your body, like it really teaches you a lot by running. So you recommend then, first 10 minutes, focus on my body, figure my ish out, and then I can like listen to a podcast to distract myself? Yeah, once you kind of get a sense of what the hell you're doing and how it feels, and like remind yourself, why do I like running and why don't I like running? What could I work on? What could make me like running more? What could I focus on less? Then reintroduce a podcast, because now you've like set your intentions and you can now try to kind of distract yourself from maybe the fact that it's kind of getting hard now because you're not used to running. So your body's starting to fatigue and your lactic acid's starting to build up. Now it's time to distract yourself once you kind of get into sync a little bit, you know?
Okay, so maybe we're becoming runners, maybe we're not, but we're gonna start with 1 mile a day. Thank you, Ethan, for your service.
You're welcome, Jen. So
after receiving his advice, I got my water, I put on my running sneakers that I barely ever put to use, and off I went. How many miles are you gonna run today?
Anywhere from 8 to 12.
How many should I run today?
Anywhere from 0 to 3.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I did it. I think that might have been, sorry about the echo in here, I think that might have been the first time I've ever ran a full mile without stopping and getting in my head and taking a minute to break, to walk. So you're not alone if you're watching this and you have not either. I feel fine. I feel like I could work out so much more, but it was really hard. All right, so day 2, I woke up feeling really sore. I might have just been sore because I was super active that day in general. I tried out golf, I was running around, I think I did the class, which is a workout class online, but my feet were super sore, and I know that was from running. It was like my ankle foot area was sore because I just don't ever run and my foot doesn't move that way. So that was really interesting, honestly. So before we went on our way for day number 2, I got a little bit more advice from Ethan as well on like the mindset, mental part of running.
I'm saying every single time I run, I want to stop at a certain point, but it's persevering through that feeling and emotion that makes you stronger.
Mentally and physically.
Mentally and physically. The more you experience that feeling of wanting to stop but not stopping, the easier it is to keep going. And then it kind of applies to everything.
So I also tried out running to music rather than listening to a podcast to see if it would maybe distract me more, motivate me more. I honestly didn't find the right playlist, and I just felt like the run felt longer than ever, but let's cut to Jen on that day. So on Wednesday, I actually ran in the afternoon for once. So the first 2 days of the week, I was running in the morning, first thing, hadn't eaten yet. And then this day, we actually had a family event the night before. We woke up, we had this big brunch buffet, so I was super full. So around 4 or 5 o'clock, Ethan and I went for a run together. I ran with him for the first half a mile, and then I turned around. He was looking at me like, come on, you can keep going. And I was like, peace. The sun just kills me. I'm at 0.7 miles. I'm so close, but running in the sun is just like a different beast. All right, here we go. But I was thinking about what it's like to run with a buddy, and honestly, I was a bit in my head just feeling intimidated and like wanting to keep up with him in terms of pace. But it did actually motivate me a bit. I think it depends on your personality. I'm not competitive at all, so it's not that motivating, but because it was Ethan and he runs marathons, I did want to impress him a bit, so it did keep me going. However, I was like in my head more, and it wasn't like as relaxing as it should have been, but let's be honest, none of this was relaxing because it was my first week ever running. So I would say running with someone is definitely personal preference. I think it might be better if you're on the same level. Probably motivating, you can push each other, but I don't know. I turned around after half a mile. Okay, I did it. I walked like the tiniest bit, but I basically ran. It was the first time, day 3, that I took a tiny break. Tiny break. Literally 30 seconds. It was much needed. I think my gathered thoughts are that I need to run in the morning because A, it's a little bit cooler, and B, there's nothing in my stomach and my system yet. Being that I had a huge buffet lunch today, and I had a cookie 20 minutes before running, and I have my period. Not a great mix, but nonetheless, proud of myself for going at like 4:30 after eating and everything, but it's beaming hot. But we did it, day 3. It's not so bad. You realize just how quick it really is after doing it for a little bit. So all in all, I'm very proud of myself that the first 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, I did not stop. I ran fully. I think it set the tone for the whole rest of the week, because I think, you know, when you're not a runner, when you think go for a run, when you feel like it's super hard, you think it's okay, which it is, of course, to stop or to walk. But like I said earlier in this video, I was really trying to tell myself this is just 10 minutes. I do crazy workout classes for 50 minutes, so I knew I could physically do it, and it was healthy and okay for me to do 1 mile all the way through. So I'm glad that I did, just to set the tone and know it was possible. But, you know, when you have a big breakfast buffet, you're bound to get a cramp. So what I learned from day 3 was that I'm definitely a morning run girl. If I'm gonna do it, I need to feel my lightest, least crampy self. So on Thursday, I went back to listening to a podcast, which I actually really enjoyed. My favorite thing to do is listening to a podcast on a long walk. So I tried to get into that. It's like my form of self-care, honestly. So I tried to just tap into that. And I'm just not a music person in general. I'm definitely more of a podcast girl. I do understand and agree that it's not as motivating to like go faster or keep going. Like maybe if I was listening to a really good song, I would want to keep going. So pros and cons. But to be honest, it still felt super hard on Thursday. I thought maybe by the 4th day of this I would feel great, but then again, it's only 4 days and my body's tired. I've never done this before. It sounds so dramatic, but I was also working out at the gym as well, and all the food on vacation and the sun, it just doesn't really help. But I did do, I think, a quicker time by like 30 seconds or something. I did 9 minutes and 40 seconds for the mile. I think on this day, I was really just trying to get it done. I was like, okay, this is only 10 minutes, Jen, you can do it. Just, if you go a little faster, you can get it done quicker. So I definitely was trying to go a tiny bit faster today, but that made me just come back still out of breath. Like, I couldn't believe in only 9 minutes of a workout, I was out of breath, because I do these crazy boxing and high intensity classes in 50 minutes, and like, just running, it's a lot, like learning the breathing and everything. It's harder than you think. Now let's get to the final day. It's Friday. Couldn't be more relieved. All right, it's day 5. It's feeling just as daunting, to be honest, but I also know, like, once I start, it'll be done in under 10 minutes and we can get it done. And something I also realize is the faster I go, the faster it will be over with, but I also want to pace myself so I don't get a cramp. So that's something I'm trying to like figure out. So I think I'm gonna try to go a little faster, like the second half. But yeah, I think podcast is the way to go for me. As much as I need the motivation of music, I think I get too in my head, where when I listen to a podcast, I'm distracted, I'm thinking about whatever the podcast is about. So we'll see. I think I might start with the podcast, and if I need extra motivation, I'll turn on some music. Let's All in all, I actually think it was a great mental challenge. It felt really rewarding. You have to start small. I think if I had done a challenge that was like, let's run a 5K every day for a week, this would be a totally different story. I would leave feeling weak, disappointed, like a failure, like just all feelings we don't want to feel. You should never guilt yourself for something like that, but we all do it naturally. So I feel rewarded. I feel great. I think you have to set small goals, and 1 mile a day is a great one. You realize that it's actually not as bad as it sounds, because it does end super quickly. It's not like, you know, doing a workout class every day for a week. Like, it's 10 minutes a day. We can all do that, no matter how slow, how fast, but it's hard. Like, running is really hard, and I think I also learned it's such a mental challenge. Can't talk yet. I've been doing this for 5 days. Which is not long, but I've literally been stopping at the 1 mile mark. I'm sure if I blasted crazy music or I was really into it, loved running, I could keep going. I'm just so bored, like I'm just waiting for it to end. Like, it's definitely getting easier physically. Continuously checking my watch, mainly because like I'm over it. Not even because it's like too hard. Comment below if you relate. And I really tried to take lessons from Ethan and from myself, just learning along the way of how I can sort of talk myself into it instead of out of it. And I think that's a lot of what running is, especially because I can get super bored. I'm used to these like high intensity remix, loud music, DJ classes, and then I had to just be one with myself, and it was not as fun. It was really rewarding, and I hope that I can keep this up somehow. Definitely not a mile a day, but maybe a mile a week. Felt really good from it, I will say. Like, I was eating a lot, but just like moving it out of my body the first thing every morning was great. Like, just shaking it off every morning. I think running a mile is great for your system, your heart, everything. What do I know? But it felt really good, and it was challenging but not too intimidating, so highly recommend. Comment down below if you love running or hate running. I feel like you're one or the other. I'm going to convince myself that I like it, because the more you put something out into the universe, the more you'll attract it. So we're gonna say I like running now, because I think it's a good thing to enjoy doing every once in a while. I don't think I'll be participating in the marathon with Ethan, but baby steps, baby steps. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so that you don't miss a video, and we can keep hanging out. I love trying fitness and wellness challenges like these, and I will see you guys next time.